This video gives us an overview of how the Joylaser's dual-core laser tube is installed. First of all, the installation of temperature control protection switch. There is an air hole to prevent the cutting of soot contamination to the lens. Dual-core tube inside the A and B2 inner tubes, so you need to use two power supplies, respectively ordinary power supply TA and isolated power supply TABL. Ordinary power supply has a negative line is relatively thin. Isolated power supply line are relatively thick. Isolated power supply labeled TABL. There are a total of 4 lines on the laser tube. Positive A 加 and negative A 减 connected to the ordinary power supply TA. Wiring Tom must pay attention to. If the use of heat shrink tubing, if the top set of 3 layers of heat shrink tubing. No heat shrink tubing with high voltage insulating tape sealing. And finally, the insulating tube set and sealing can be done. TA power supply, the negative line, the thinner one, connected to the top of the A 减. TABL power supply line connected to the B 加 and B 减. Connected to the same way as TA. White wire connected to B 减. Finally, the two power supplies are strung together and can work together. The next step is to pass the water. Here is the water inlet. Here is the water outlet. There is a water outlet under the copper head. The co-tubes should use water chiller at least 5300 or more. We demonstrated the use of a smaller model for reference only. The water chiller outlet connected to the laser tube inlet. Because there are two pipes, we used a T-pipe to divert the water. Connecting the time to remember to tie with a tie to prevent the water from leaking out of the water flow is too large. The water chiller inlet is connected to the water outlet on the laser tube. The same connected with a tie. Connected to open the water cooler to ensure that the water from the high pressure and into the other end of the flow. To ensure that the direction of the water flow cannot be reversed. Pay attention to the water through the water must be full of water, there can be no bubbles. If the water is connected to the reverse or the water bubbles will lead to damage to the inner tube, we must pay attention to. Finally, we connect the waterless sensor. If you have the sensor, you can connect to your sensor. If no, connection WP and G on the power supplier.